One of the biggest reasons businesses fail or don't profit as much as they should is they do not know how to properly price out their goods and services. If this is you and you're searching for answers, this video is a great place to start, so you're not going to want to miss one. Stay tuned. Now, if your services and materials are priced correctly, your sign shop will be profitable. You need to become very familiar with your costs in each line item in your income statement or profit and loss statement. Your profits have a direct relationship to your prices. Sales minus expenses equals profits. This sounds very simple, but we must become familiar with our expenses and forecast any future additions to those expenses in order to set the proper pricing in our sign shop business. It is essential when setting your prices to know the costs of running your business. Most owners are not familiar with accounting though. However, with the help of me in this video, you can avoid one of the biggest pitfalls of this industry: proper pricing. A common mistake is to price yourself just like your competition. If you don't get your pricing structure correct, you will always be trying to either market more or cut costs to make your numbers. There are two key factors here when determining your pricing within your market to ensure that we price for profit. The first is understanding your cost. You can do this by completing your Shoprate Calculator, which I will leave a link to in the form below. This will give you a baseline to what your operational costs or fixed costs are, as well as what your variable costs are going to be. This will allow us to budget for profit. Once again, that'll be in the description below. Once all the costs are entered into the Shoprate Calculator, we will be able to understand what your hourly operating cost is, which will allow us to set a baseline within your price book inside a shopVOX. A basic guide here is to double the hourly operational cost to use the hourly factor when building your pricing. The second key factor is your market. Although we do not base our decisions on our competition, it is important, however, to know that what our competition is doing and how we can differentiate ourselves within the marketplace. We do not want to position ourselves as the cheap guys in the market. Price is not what sells here. Value is what sells here. Typically, you want to be within 10 to 15% less than the most expensive sign shops in your market. To understand your competition though, it is important to do a little bit of market research here. A feasibility study here is going to be a great way to get going. This may include talking to friends and family who may have recently called a sign or print shop to come to their business. It also may include contacting local sign shops over the phone as well as reviewing current advertisements to understand what is really happening within the market, within your industry. Once we have a good understanding of these two very important factors, you are now ready to begin the process of building out your price book. A great place to start, a great place to begin is with your hourly services. Hourly services such as design charges, vinyl production charges, fabrication charges, installation, and delivery charges are a great place to start. In fact, it's in these charges where the Shoprate Calculator inside of shopVOX really helps tell your profitability story. If you've entered all of your costs in properly, then you can simply use the rule of thumb here to double your cost per hour, or take the recommended price based on how you answer the questions inside the Shoprate Calculator. And if you do, you will be certain that you're making money on the labor end of things. Now, once this is all settled, then 50% of the work is now done. The next part to look at is your material markup. In our industry, it is customary for owners to mark up the cost of the materials inside their price book. The key here is knowing how much to mark up and whether or not it's too little or too much. This is the part of pricing that can be a little tricky. Some shops mark up their materials 2x, 5x, some only mark it up 20%. The key to understanding materials is knowing how often you will use them, and then of course what the percentage of failure is. What I mean by this is this: a markup of a sheet of, say, Dibond may be different than a markup percentage of a sheet of HDU. A sheet of dye bond may be around $60, when a sheet of HDU may be around or closer to $200. If you mark up each 20%, you're not even covering the cost of the sheet if it were to be damaged for any reason. That is where the percentage of failure comes into play. If your shop doesn't use a lot of HDU and the percentage of failure is over 50%, then maybe it would be best to look at a markup of 2x or maybe even 3x in this case. However, if your shop does a lot of rigid sign panel signs and you use dye bond all the time and have become comfortable with it, then maybe a 1.2x or maybe a 1.5x multiplier here may be appropriate. Now, for the sake of time in this video, we're not going to be able to cover all of the materials, all of the substrates. So once you have your core materials sorted out and inside of ShopVOX, make sure these markups line up with what your competition is doing. This would be a great way to double check your work and make any adjustments to the markup percentages for your materials. If I were starting at creating a new or revamping my existing price book, I would likely start with my vinyl, my laminate, and my ink costs first. Because if you're like many shops doing rigid sign panel signs, everything is based off of those three pieces first. You can always add the substrate later, as well as all the potential add-ons, which may be a bit easier to calculate because a simple 2x or 3x markup is often used with items that you can simply purchase from your sign supply house. For example, a typical PVC bowl cap finial may cost $5, but you can mark this up to $15 or $20 and be quite comfortable with your prices. So that's it for now on pricing. I'm sure you have a lot of work to do to get started on revamping the pricing inside of your ShopVOX price books, but don't worry. We'll be doing a follow-up video soon going deeper into the rabbit hole that is pricing for the sign, print, and workshop industries. So be sure to hit like and subscribe so that you'll get notified when another video that can help your shop will drop. I'm Peter Karunas. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to catching you on the next one. And like always, stay positive out there.